Alright everyone, welcome back to another Heroes of Middle-earth video with Fat Phil, and I want to give you guys my account update for, the first week that I've been playing this game as a free-to-play, give you guys some advice to get your account started again. Remember, the global-wide launch is May the 10th, that is 5 days away as the time of recording. So let's dive into our video, guys. We want to hit 5,000 subscribers. If we hit 5,000 subscribers, my Star Wars account will take our Wampa to Relegate. Wampa is king, even though he's not in Lord of the Rings, Heroes of Middle-earth. So let's dive in here. Let's take a look at the roster. So in the week that I've been playing, I've been able to accumulate 2 solid teams, which was my goal, right? I built a light team and I built a shadow team. The light team you want to build is going to be primarily centered around Rohan. So we've got Aemir, Lady Eowyn, and Eothane. These characters are very strong and very accessible for new free-to-play players. Not a lot of work you need to do there to get these guys. It's something that's gifted to you. I think they're a great platform to move up from. And then I've been building up my Strider, who you get for free through daily login. So as long as or daily objectives, so you're going to get Strider shards. And then Pippin is in your guild campaign. Very easy to obtain shards out of that. If you're from like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, that's your Cantina farming right there. That Pippin is, very, very accessible. So been working on this team. I've had a lot of success with them. The biggest challenge that I am running into right now with these guys is, these ability materials are definitely a little bit more rare. So you want to make sure that you're putting them on abilities when that makes sense. Sometimes one of the things my guild has mentioned is, you want to look at stuff that says like, see how here it's 10% damage and always gain defensive. That's an important upgrade compared to simply just getting additional damage. Again, just making some cases here of what, people have been kind of sharing here. So that's my light team. I do have Samwise Gamgee unlocked, but I'm not going to be gearing him right now because I don't really have a team to take advantage of him, and I'm trying to save my resources. And then Frodo I've kind of stopped investing in for the time being because I kind of had to push him out when I got Aemir, who has really good synergy with Eowyn. And then Eothane's kind of your tank, Strider is damage, and then Pippin is your healer. So Frodo kind of lost his spot in this team. Then from the shadow perspective, if we come here, the other team that I've been focused on building. So we've gotten Naraz, Mahar, Dunhar, Ugluk, and Gaz Ironhide. That's kind of been the team that I've been using. Ugluk is kind of like your tank, and he has some survivability baked into his leadership for this team around healing. Naraz is really good. He's a very support character, but he summons a troll, and summons are so important. Think of that as like Geonosian Brood Alpha. That summon is amazing. There's a lot of good abilities there. Gaz Ironhide is just damage. He has 2 really good AoE abilities, and AoEs in this game are worth their weight in gold because it allows you to get a lot of damage out there, and especially with a lack of healers in this game right now, a lack of healing, those AoE attacks can just be brutal to you. And then Mahur here, he's really good damage and has synergy with Ugluk. They can call each other to assist. And then Dunhar here is your healer for your shadow team. So you build these 5 characters, and I found them very accessible, free to play, very, very good to kind of use together. I do have a lot more shadow characters unlocked. I've been able to get them, like Great Goblin's kind of just given to you in your daily login. And then I did get Grimpa, who is also a goblin. But because I don't have any other goblins, I haven't really felt comfortable investing in those 2 characters yet. I am really trying to save resources. So those are the 2 teams that I recommend building up, right? The factions. And those would definitely be the characters that if you're trying to go free to play in this game, those are the ones you want to be building, because otherwise you're going to run into some big roadblocks with a character like, say, Halbarad here, who is 100% just not really that accessible without either waiting a long time or buying a pack to get him. So something that I'm kind of working towards. I'd love to get Halbarad. I think he's a great, he looks like a very good character for a roster. So that's the account update in terms of what my roster looks like. In terms of things that I want to warn you about, number 1 is the gear crunch. It's here, right? The gear crunch is already here, especially with these pieces here for, these luminous crystals for light side characters. And then there's these shadow crystals for your shadow characters, right? They have kind of 2 different things. You see down here, right, these shadow crystals. And then, but like your other pieces here are shared. You can see that they're shared between them. Those shadow and luminous crystals are very difficult to obtain. There are challenges for them, but you're not getting enough of them. You really, really struggle to get them early. My recommendation is the two teams. You want to just focus on the two teams. Don't overinvest. Build them up to the level that you feel, confident that you can do. One of the barometers that I use, as you guys will see here in my shadow campaign. So I got to this point where I 3-starred this node and then I 1-starred here. So what I'll probably do is wait a little bit, gear up my shadow a little bit more, invest in some levels, and then I'll come back and try and 3-star these nodes. So the campaigns are really nice because you use that. See here, like I didn't 3-star this node, so I kind of held back and waited, and we'll work on that elsewhere. So that's one, another piece of advice is kind of use the campaign to figure out how far along your roster is and if you need to invest more or potentially, switch to a sort of, light side, switch to like a hard node farming campaign a little bit. You want to make sure you go and revisit those. Then in your guild campaign, so this is where you get your ability materials and you can obviously earn a ton of character shards because there's no, you can do this in an unlimited amount of times. So as long as you have the energy, I would say. So this is definitely something that you can work towards. So I might try and do some of these to earn some of these higher level ability materials because you are going to need them at some point and they're really going to boost the power of your characters. That's one thing I've noticed, that a lot of your character power comes from their abilities, which is very different than Galaxy of Heroes where, some of those early abilities really don't do as much, but that it's the Zetas and Omegas at the end that give you a lot of that power. In Lord of the Rings here, these, upgrading abilities are one of the most important things, right? Like if I would upgrade this, it would boost his power significantly more than just equipping a piece of gear. So to last thing to maybe set your expectations, this game is in its infancy. This is not a game like Galaxy of Heroes that you're picking up this almost complete game after 7 years. This is a brand new game. Regardless of if Capital Games is running Star Wars, this game is still in its infancy. There's still so much they need to add that you need to set your expectation that your account is going to look very different than it would in, say, Star Wars, because Star Wars, there's all these things, right? They've changed it to make sure that you can get to that end game faster. Here, they're not going to do that. They don't want you to hit that end game faster, right? They want to keep you playing and engaged and keep you kind of down a little bit lower. Obviously, get you to spend money, but also just to be a little bit more, ensure that this game isn't a one-hit wonder, right? That it's good for a year and then it dies off. They want to make this game really, really last. So you guys can see that they do have raids coming. They're not in the game yet, but I think they said around Q3 of this year that we can expect those. And I think this game, if I had to make a guess, I think it's going to progress much more quickly than Galaxy of Heroes did. I think Galaxy of Heroes struggled at times to find a good cadence for rolling out content that you would get a huge update, like we just got the Crate Dragon raid. Huge update, game-changing, and then we won't get anything for months. I think this game, they'll do that content. They'll get in a little bit more of a cadence where we're getting stuff a little bit more frequently, but it's not as big all at once. So, I hope that's one of the things to help set your expectations, that this is in its infancy, that if you weren't playing Galaxy of Heroes back when, even before raids, right? But I would even say if you were playing Galaxy of Heroes before the AAT raid was a thing or before the Sith raid, you'll probably have a better understanding of what this game is currently like, that there's some gear pieces that are just going to be really, really tough to obtain because there isn't that ability to get them through a raid or even through the store. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. As always, guys, smash that subscribe button, leave likes, leave comments. I love all of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.